Hey guys, it's Bass back with another video, and today we're discussing the Dixon Rule. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, the Dixon Rule is actually the second book in the Campus Diaries series, and it is the next generation series or spin-off series to the Off-Campus series. I have done a video on Off-Campus, so I'll link that down below so you can get a feel of the original characters and the original storyline. But in this video, like I said, we're going to be discussing the Dixon Rule. And essentially the Dixon Rule is about Diana Dixon, who is the head cheerleader at Briar U, and Shane Lindley, who is a hockey player at Briar U. So it's going to be their story. This is more of an enemies to lovers type of story. It also has more of kind of like a fake dating, friends with benefits story. So it kind of has all these little like micro tropes, but it makes for an amazing story. And essentially what their characters are about is, like I said, Diana is the head cheerleader at Briar U, and she kind of has it out for Shane because he has been hooking up with all of her cheerleaders and her teammates. And because he's going through this like one night stands type of relationship with these ladies, he has been, hooking up with them and then saying, you know what, it's never happening again. And these girls are getting in their head that they end up really liking him or want a relationship with him. And they end up either fighting with each other or end up injuring themselves or being heartbroken about it, right? So Diana kind of draws this hard line that says, he needs to stay away from my girls. The problem is that this book takes place during the summer season, okay? Part of the book does take place during the school year, but the majority of it is during the summer season. So Diana actually lives at this condo that she owns that she received through her aunt's inheritance. Okay, her aunt passed away and she left her this apartment. And so she lives in this like condo complex, right? And, she has these very like quirky neighbors. We get to see her relationship with them throughout. But essentially the story here is that Shane is moving out. His parents actually bought an apartment complex at the same condo building that Diana lives in. And he is going to be living there like throughout his time at Briar U. So he ends up moving in during the summer, and the banter between these two is like off the charts. She absolutely hates him. She cannot fathom him really being her neighbor, and he's her next door neighbor. Okay. And during the summer, Diana has a lot going on. She wants to enter this dance competition. She is working 2 jobs, one as a waitress at a diner, and then the second job teaches cheer and gymnastics to little kids. And, she loves her life, right? Like she loves her life, but she just hates the fact that he is intruding in her space. Okay. And she makes it well known. Now, Shane, what he's doing this summer is all he wants to do is, work on his physique, keep in shape for, the upcoming Briar U hockey season. So he's like, okay, I'm going to do my due diligence and I'm going to keep my body up and moving, no stress. I'm going to, work out. I'm going to go golfing every day and, have fun, maybe do some swimming because there's a pool here at the complex. Anyways, so he's all about himself and keeping up his regimen and just having a very chill, summer. Now, when he and Diana actually get to, becoming neighbors, she has made it her life's mission to, get everyone to hate him. Okay. And, the reason she does this is because she gets some misinformation from a teammate, and she kind of runs with that information and then does this whole thing of making sure that everyone at the complex does not like him and that he doesn't feel welcome. But anyways, that's like a very like minor plot point. The bigger part about this and getting to like the fake dating and the friends with benefits is that Shane's ex wants to transfer to Briar U, and she's kind of like on the fence about it. And Shane basically says to her, hey, you know what? Like if you're ever in town, come by, like my door is always open for you. And she quite takes that literally because she ends up calling him and says, hey, can I stay? I'm taking a tour. I don't really want to like put up money for a hotel. Is it okay if I just crash at your place? And he says, that's fine. Like, come, bring your friends, whatever. She shows up with her new boyfriend. Okay, keep in mind that they haven't kept in touch at all. And she shows up to his apartment with her new boyfriend. So Shane kind of gets put into this situation where he's forced to lie, and he basically says, oh yeah, I am seeing someone. She actually lives next door. Her name is Diana, and we've been together for a while. And at this time, Diana has been trying to convince Shane to be her dance partner in this dance competition that she's, gonna be in. And he just like refuses, right? Ends up coming over and seeing, Shane plus, the ex and her new boyfriend, and they play it up, whatever. They kiss, they, really show that they're like a couple, right? And you can tell that his ex is actually getting pretty jealous and like annoyed by it, because in her eyes, Shane is doing things for Diana and for this fake relationship that he never would have done for her. And that's kind of like an annoying part of the book, because obviously there's more to like the relationship and it gets into it later, but you kind of get the feel that his ex Lindsay is just someone who is me, 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 me. And if it doesn't suit me, then you're the bad guy. And I think she learns later on that she has taken their relationship for granted. But at that point, he's like, I don't care. He's trying to make her jealous. That's kind of like how that evening goes. Later on, we find out that Diana wants Shane to be her fake boyfriend because her ex keeps harassing her. He won't take no for an answer. He doesn't believe that they have, broken up, and he just keeps, coming after her, trying to be friends, trying to be the nice guy. But, Diana has this gut feeling about him and being like, you know what, we're not compatible. We cannot sustain a friendship. We cannot sustain any type of relationship. Please leave. And he does not take no for an answer. He becomes kind of dangerous to where Diana starts getting like panic attacks and feeling unsafe. And so she uses Shane as kind of like her bodyguard and as her fake boyfriend to try to keep him like at bay and to keep him, at a distance. And hopefully if he sees that, okay, she is and has moved on with someone else, then maybe he will get the hint and move on himself and just, stay out of it. But, his character pops up a lot, and it's so icky and gross. And I'm not going to spoil what happens, but that's all I'm going to say with that. Just that he's trash and that he deserves everything and everything that happened to him. I'm just going to leave it there. Now, I know I've said a lot about the book in general, but I have a lot of notes, and I am kind of like a little psychotic here because I have tons of notes. This video is going to be forever if I go through all of them, but I'm going to try to go through them pretty quickly. Essentially, how the story goes is they have to convince everybody that they're dating. And it's really funny to watch because, or in this case, read, because they're kind of acting the same towards each other as they normally would, and people are believing that they're together. And I think it has everything to do with the fact that their chemistry is kind of off the charts, and that they're both gorgeous, attractive, and flirty people, that their energies just mix really well together and it works out. Now, something that I do want to address is that I was concerned about reading this book because it is a next generation story. I was not sure how the Campus Diaries was going to come about. When it was first released or announced by Elle Kennedy that she was going to do a second generation or a next generation series, I was concerned that we weren't going to have the main characters, or at least the original cast, or the original characters from the original series involved in this. And I wasn't exactly sure how they were going to be involved. And in the first book, she did a really good job in the Graham effect. She did an amazing job of reintroducing or bringing back the characters that we loved and giving them cameos. Now, it made sense in the first book for all of that information to come about because it was the daughter of one of the original characters. So it made sense for everyone to be there. Now, in the second book, the characters are the best friends of Gigi Graham. Diana is her best friend. Shane is actually her husband's best friend. And they're one form removed. I don't know how to say that, but they're removed from the original cast. So I was a little concerned, like I said, on how that was going to play out. But again, Miss Elle Kennedy knows what she's doing. She's thought it through, and she made sure we got the cameos that we all loved and enjoyed in this one. And she did it so effortlessly. There's a scene where they are back in school and they are playing hockey. And of course, Garrett Graham, John Logan, Dean DeLaurentis, and Tucker both come, or John Tucker, all four of them are in the same scene at the same time with the new cast of Luke Ryder, Shane Lindley, Beckett, I believe, and Will, all of our favorite characters. And it ends up working out so well because they actually do introduce some newer characters, and aka their children. And it works. When I tell you I laughed out loud, it was like my favorite scenes. And the reason I liked it was because it was just so familiar, and it was just nice to see that them being adults and them being parents, they still have those very strong bonds as like best friends. And it kind of gives me hope for now the newer generation of stories to come about, because we know that the foundation is strong. That's all I'm going to say on that. I will say though that we do see more of like the next generation children in this novel, and I really like that. Like for instance, John Logan's daughter Blake with Grace Ivers, she's amazing. Okay, she is actually friends with Diana, so we get a few scenes of them actually being friends. Even though she's Gigi's cousin, she's actually present and friends with Diana, or this new cast of characters. And it was actually really nice to see. And I was a little, like, I didn't know how Elle Kennedy was going to portray the next generation children, but she did it so effortlessly. Like I said before, Blake literally is exactly like her mother. Oh my goodness, she's exactly like her mother. And like, she's so grace coded, it's unreal. And I really enjoyed that. So it was nice to see that they incorporated a lot of like the older characters, or even like the new generational characters in this, that stems from like the OG cast and like the OG family. Another part about the cameos, just like quickly here, is that in the first novel, Gigi and Ryder get married. And at the end, we only see a snippet of the wedding. Now, in this novel, we actually get a little bit more about like the wedding process and other scenes of the wedding. So I really did enjoy that, because I felt like we were kind of robbed from the wedding in the Graham Effect. But I do like that we got a lot of it, or just a little bit more insight to the wedding during, the Dixon Rule, and it made my day. Oh, one more thing about like the OG cast is Coach Jensen. I will always say Coach Jensen is MVP, and I'm so glad that he is young enough to continue to be the coach at Prior U. He's still sassy and like macho and manly, but he has such a soft spot for like family and like his wife and his girls and his grandkids, that he kind of brings that in this book too to Shane. When Shane has to go and perform at this dance competition, Coach is like, why are you doing this? Like, this is not your priority here. But when he says, hey, you know what? It's really important to my girlfriend. She wants me to do it. And I promised her, like, I swear, like, it'll be fine. I looked at their schedule. I know it's a little tight, but I can make it. And he's like, okay, I got a surprise for you. I'm not going to say what it is, but basically he's supportive about it. and the way he's supportive about it is amazing. But we do get a heart-to-heart moment with Coach and Shane about his relationship with his family and the things he's going through and his relationship with Diana, and it works. That's all I'm going to say there. So in case you haven't figured out, I did give the Dixon Rule a 5 out of 5 star rating. And that's because I cannot shut up about talking about it. But I really did enjoy how it made me feel. It gave me all of these, it just had so many things. And that's why I gave it 5 stars. So Shane is actually such a lovable character, even though he kind of puts on this like playboy, reputation or, persona. He's actually very sweet. He has a younger sister whom he loves and adores. He takes care of her. He takes her out. She's like his best friend. And she's actually so cute. She's so smart. Like, actually, she's so smart. And she's just a big ball of chaos. And what I absolutely love about the relationship with Shane and his sister is that it's very genuine. Like, you can tell he really loves her and that she adores her big brother. And the fun part about it is that when Diana, intrudes on their like one-on-one time, accidentally, by the way, like, she messages him and his sister answers the phone and she tells her to come over. She just like clicks with the sister and really adores her, right? So like the family dynamics in this one is actually very, very sweet. Like, Shane with his family and his parents are sweethearts, like the best people you'll ever meet. And even Diana's family is pretty cool. Like, her brother is pretty awesome. Her dad is like her best friend. They get along so well. Yes, Diana might have a little bit of an issue with her mother at this point in time, but at the end, they kind of figure out what the problem is and work towards fixing it. It ends up not being as bad as you think it is. And I really did like the fact that it didn't go in a negative direction to where she maybe had to cut off her mom, completely. I really do like the fact that she was able to kind of reconcile that relationship. And it's done actually quite beautifully and very realistic, I might add, because these things take time. Last thing I'm going to talk about is the emotional roller coaster I had while reading this story. Let me reiterate that I laughed, I cried, I got embarrassed. Like, the secondhand embarrassment in this book was ridiculous. I got the little fuzzies while reading this book. I got angry as well. I will say this, I probably won't read this book again for a while just because of the amount of like heartache that I received while reading it. But it's definitely a book that I would go back to. Like, it was amazing. I really liked how funny it was. Like, actually the banter between the two characters were off the charts. The jokes that were just made were really funny, like by all characters, not just the two main characters. The situations were actually really funny. Like, I think about how Elle was able to, come up with these different like scenarios, but of course she did it. The crying was not necessary. It was not needed. Why, Elle Kennedy? Why did you do this to me? I should have known that she would have pulled something like this because she's done this before in the past. But I mean, it's been a while and I just didn't think she was gonna do it. Unfortunately, it was a story or a plot that I did pick up on, and I was hoping that I was gonna be wrong. Wrong-o. It was a failure. I was completely correct about what had happened, and that broke me even more. Definitely, I sobbed. I sobbed like a baby. I also got really angry, not at the story or the Elle Kennedy, at a very certain character in this book who I will not mention because he does not deserve to be named. But I just no. The things that this person did to one of our main characters, just no. Not allowed. They got everything they deserved. He's trash. And, no sympathy towards this person whatsoever. And there should never be sympathy, right? Like, when someone, just a little advice about life, when someone shows you who they are and it's the first time, you best believe that's who they are, okay? Do not think, oh, you know what, this red flag, I can go past it. No, when someone shows you who they are, that is who they are, okay? And it's only gonna get worse as time goes on. Okay, just that there. The spice in this book. I can't believe I waited this long to talk about it. The spice in this book. When I tell you, I actually received secondhand embarrassment from reading this book. Like, usually I'm pretty good about reading a lot of stuff, especially like the first time around. I had to close the book 3 times and just kind of be like, am I really willing to like continue? At one point I asked myself, is this okay for me to read? Like, can I actually read this? It was amazing. Honestly, I was like, okay, this is something I could probably never do. Like, it's insane. But it actually worked really well with the characters, and it worked well, like, with the characters involved. And it actually worked well with the story and where the story kind of began, or where the series began. So it worked in that way. And I was thankful that it worked out the way it did. Because at one point I was like, oh, is it going to go a certain way? I don't really want to read this, but it stayed in its lane and I was very happy with it. But yeah, no, that's spice. And we all know which scene I'm talking about. If you haven't read it yet, I'm talking about the kitchen scene at Diana's apartment. That's all I'm going to say, because it was literally like, if I could give it a million spicy chilies and like pop them up here, I would. Just insane, because their chemistry is insane. Like, the tension, the way that she wrote it worked so well. They complement each other extremely well, and I love the way it worked. And I love the way the characters can kind of switch up and show a different side of them, like when they're like in the bedroom than when they are in like how they act with everybody else. So I really, really enjoyed that. There was a few other scenes, like spice-wise, that I was like, ooh, but you know, again, it was all in good fun and it really worked for the characters. So all in all, I am really, really happy with this book. Again, like I said before, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and I really just can't wait to see where the story is going to go next. I did get the bonus, like I did get an exclusive copy, so there was an extra bonus scene at the end, and it was actually Beckett's perspective, where, you know, he kind of confronts Will about some like issues that they're having and just kind of making sure that their friendship is a-okay. And so yeah, so I'm really curious to see where this story is going to go next. The third one, the title has already been released. I can't remember what it is, but it's been released. I have no idea whose story it's going to be. So that's going to be very interesting to see when it comes out. But all in all, I love this series. It's very close to my heart. And I really do love the fact, like I said before, that Elle Kennedy was able to, you know, keep the original cast and characters, you know, involved in this, and really make us love the entire universe. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I really hope you guys give The Dixon Rule a chance by Elle Kennedy. And if not, just go back, start with the off-campus series, continue with Briar Youth series, and then go on to the Campus Diaries. I promise you, it is worth, you know, reading, you know, the many books to be in love with this universe. So that's all for this video. I hope you guys leave a comment down below and, you know, like, subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff. And I will see you guys back with another video. Bye.